Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're taking a look at not one, but two versions of Albus Dumbledore by Star Ace Toys from their line of Harry Potter 6-scale figures. Let's check them out. Okay, here they are, both Dumbledores. The first is a representation of Richard Harris in Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. The other is a stunning likeness of Michael Gambon in the Order of the Phoenix. This is the regular version of the Harris figure. If you were lucky enough to get the deluxe version of this, you'll also get a 6-scale representation of Fawkes the Phoenix on his golden perch, as well as a light-up display stand for the crystal ball. The swords of Godric Gryffindor are a bit different. The Harris figure features a nice chrome finish, and the sword on the Gambon figure, by contrast, is a bit more matted down, but has the benefit of featuring some nice lettering along the length of the blade. First up, obviously, is Harris. The first thing you'll notice when you start working with each of these figures is the Star Ace absolutely nailed the likeness of each actor, up to and including giving their faces a touch of the personality that they each brought to the character. In the case of this figure, there's a bit of that searching, contemplative expression that we frequently saw him wearing on screen. The costume is made from a soft, velvety fabric, and while it looks fantastic, you'll probably find that you're limited to museum poses due to the density of it. That's fine with me. The character as portrayed by Harris was all about presence. Hitting an action pose with this figure might seem like a fun idea, but I think it's a silly one. At any rate, the figure's inflexible, solid boots won't really permit it. I think you'll find it's probably best to recreate that presence I mentioned with a series of museum poses, just as I've done here. Of the two figures, I found that the Harris figure does a much better job of displaying without the included cap. Star Ace did a great job with this rooted hair on this figure. Even blown up as it is in these images, it genuinely looks quite natural. This will be a welcome relief to anyone who feels like the cap is a bit large, which I don't. If anything, the cap on the figure is an improvement over the one on screen. This one looks like a bona fide wizard's cap. The one in the movie, I felt, always looked more like a nightcap. The sleeves, like the rest of the costume, require very little work to create a natural looking drape, so that's not an issue. Overall, it's an outstanding figure, possibly Star Ace's best in the line, but you can be the judge of that. I prefer to have him displayed with the cup in his hand. It just is a nice homage to that little nod and a wink that he gave Harry at the beginning of at the end of the movie. Now, next up, the Michael Gambon figure from Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. Working with this figure is a hell of a departure from working with the Harris figure. The core hands and accessories are identical, so no surprises there. The figure's more satiny fabric will require a bit more attention when trying to create a natural look. Fortunately, the fabric is wired, which will allow for a greater variety of posing. You can even get a bit more aggressive with this one, as I'm trying to do here. You want to get the hat right, of course. Dumbledore wears it with a bit of a roguish tilt to his right, and the tassel should likewise fall to the right and maybe a little bit forward, if you're trying to go for screen accuracy, that is. I struggled a bit with the ornamentation in his beard. Ultimately, what I should have done is to tie it in such a way that the little baubles hang to his left. I didn't catch my error until after the photo shoot, unfortunately. Never forget to check your references. Given the greater flexibility that you have with this figure, I'm going to opt to go with a bit more of an action-oriented pose. As you can see here, by the way, I'm just shifting his body, twisting it, contorting it. Not really, contorting's not really the word, but just trying to provide a little bit of a suggestion of movement. This is going to be a battle posture, plain and simple. Representative of his final battle, rather, in the Order of the Phoenix, where he fights Voldemort. I remember having this impression, not so much the first time that I saw it, but in subsequent viewings, of Dumbledore, the way he held his wand and his posture was something like that of an orchestra conductor, which is fascinating, right? I mean, I don't know if it was intentional or not, but I thought it was gorgeously analogous of a master sorcerer directing the elements of magic to create something from nothing. As a master wizard, perhaps the greatest of his age, as was suggested by Snape, Dumbledore is something of an artist, and I think that this probably best captures that. I mean, obviously there are a few other things that you can do, but the orchestra conductor theme, yeah, I think that's something that I can live with on my shelf, and I think that this is how it's going to stay. I've obviously stepped away from that a little bit for some of the other poses, just having him at the podium and whatnot, which is gorgeous. And if you have the means to pick that up, then by all means, I suggest that you do so. There's a lot of things you can do with this figure. It's much more dynamic than the Harris one. Doesn't necessarily make it better, The Harris figure is fantastic. It's gorgeous. It's a strong representation of a fine actor in a great role. But if you're looking for things to really be more dynamic, then this might be the one that you were going to go for if you wanted to just pick one. Hope you enjoyed the video review. Feel free to leave comments. I'm looking forward to the next one. I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.